Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you today. Bitcoin spot ETFs, the numbers are staggering, ladies and gentlemen. And how about BAKKT, the crypto digital asset platform for the New York Stock Exchange parent company? Is it going under? We're going to talk about it. Jerome Powell on stablecoins, you're going to want it. And how about a possible, did we start a multi-decade trend for XRP? Oh boy, we're going to take a look at it. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $2.05 trillion. How good's that feel just to see it over $2 trillion this morning? Right now, up 1.9% in the last 24 hours for the cryptocurrency market cap. 52,300 plus for Bitcoin right now, up 17.2% on the 7-day, 1.3 on this day, on 24 hours here. 2,700 plus now for Ethereum, up 15.7 on the 7-day. Tether market cap 97.1 billion plus. XRP is 55 cents. It's up 7.6 on the 7-day, and it's up 3.5, essentially half of that, on the 24 hours. So XRP is moving this morning as we sit at 55 cents. We are at the top range, even though we pulled back a little. Bottom range 52.90. So you can see we are out for a jog this morning. We will take a look at the chart to see if we could possibly be beginning a multi-decade trend, and what would that be that could do that? So we'll talk about that in a second. But look at these numbers. Wow, oh wow. BlackRock accumulates $518 million worth of Bitcoin in one day. Now that's not bad business if you can get it, I can tell you. Oh my goodness gracious day. So looking at this, we see $5 billion has come in just from BlackRock alone in 1 month. There's going to be hundreds of billion in inflows this year and 2025. The next bull run is going to be driven by institutional money, and it will be relentless buying regardless of price. And I absolutely agree with that. And I want you to take a listen to this right here.
I'm anticipating that by the time we get to the end of 2025, we're talking 2 years, we're going to see total inflows of more than $150 billion. We're only at 5 right now.
And what is going to propel? That's a big claim. That's a big number. What's going to propel that?
It really isn't all that big when you do the simple arithmetic. Individual investment advisors, independents, those that are operating their own firms, collectively manage around $8 trillion in assets, and 3/4 of them in every industry survey done by BAKKT as well as by Bitwise all show that 3/4 of advisors say that they're going to allocate to these ETFs and that their average allocation is going to be about 2.5% of assets. Do the arithmetic. $8 trillion times 77% times 2.5% is $150 billion worth of flows, and that's just independent advisors. It excludes the wirehouses, it excludes the regional broker-dealers, it excludes the institutional investors.
Well, this is a big number. And look, I believe that's Rick Rule, if I'm not mistaken. But that guy's super smart, and he breaks down the numbers very practical. And I think those flows and that number is right. But let us not forget, ladies and gentlemen, there's a more than $1 trillion market cap for Bitcoin right now. That's like a blue chip stock, right? So that's how the world is starting to see that. We need to be aware of that. Now, BAKKT, the digital asset platform, institutional digital asset platform that was created by the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange, has been in trouble lately, ladies and gentlemen. And I've announced it here on the channel. I've been very big on BAKKT. I don't know what the hell's going on, but here's what is going on here. They announced that its universal shelf registration statement on Form S3 was declared effective. So that means that the SEC approved it on Valentine's Day yesterday. This registration statement allows BAKKT, so long as it is effective, to raise up to an aggregate of $150 million of capital in one or more offerings of the subsequent 3 years. So they've gotten the permission to raise money through a stock offering, right? That's, I think, is what basically what the breakdown is there. They're allowed to make more shares, I think is what it's basically saying. So we'll see where it goes from here. But look, not financial advice. I'm just sharing my moves, my digital perspectives here. I've talked about this heavily in the private group. You know, I pulled my position when I first heard that they may be in trouble. So I pulled the position just to watch what happens. Now that this is approved, I'm considering getting back in, but I don't know yet. I will talk to everybody in the private groups as we make the move. We'll get further in this together as a group, no question about it. This is what we do in the DPMG. Now, Warren narrative is crumbling, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Tom Emmer, who's just been absolutely nonstop kick-ass. Listen to this.
I really want to make just a record here, because regardless, to be clear, Hamas is using crypto in relatively small amounts compared to what's been widely reported. That's correct.
That's our assessment, yep.
There it is. So, Elizabeth Warren is not telling the truth. And Eleanor Terrett says, my spidey senses were on to something. John Deaton, a Swansea attorney who has been prominent advocate for cryptocurrency, excuse me, is seriously considered running as a Republican in this year's U.S. Senate race against Democrat Elizabeth Warren, according to two GOP insiders with direct knowledge on this matter. Well, let me tell you something. I have always wanted to help unseat a senator. It's extra special to me that it ends up being Elizabeth Warren. She's out of touch and serving bankers over her own constituents. Let's help bring John Deaton's leadership, real leadership, to Massachusetts. And let's get this trending starting right now today. Hashtag vote Deaton. That's what we need to do, baby. And shout out to John Deaton. I hope that this is true. I hope that, and I'm sure that it is. I'm sure that he's leaning in. Super excited if he does this. And I can tell you, I will do everything I can to support him. He is an absolute real leader. He leads from the front. He, everything's out there. This guy can do great things for Massachusetts. And I couldn't be more excited to help him in the effort, should it take place. We will follow it. Go John Deaton. Hashtag vote hashtag vote Deaton. That's it. Hashtag vote Deaton. Let's get it going. I want that thing trending, baby. Digital Licensing Incorporated, doing business as DebtBox, check this out, was sued by the SEC last year over an alleged fraud scheme, and now it says the regulator should not be allowed to dismiss the case and retry it. You know what this is, don't you? Well, everybody's gone home huddled up and said, you know what? They were caught lying. We should hold their feet to the fire and ask the judge to make this case go forward so we can really drive it home. I tell you, I hope they have the money to do so. If they do it, I hope they have the money to finish it, because the SEC, their greatest attribute is stalling and causing you to draw off of your reserves, and they try to bankrupt companies until they just give it in and just give into some kind of a settlement that's favorable to the SEC. It should be criminal what they're doing. Citibank, in collaboration with Wellington Management and Wisdom Tree, has tested the tokenization of private assets using Avalanche Spruce. It's coming. We're not going back the other way. And here's even more evidence right here. I want to play this clip, which you've probably seen from years ago, but there's a reason why I'm showing you this 51-second clip. Take a listen.
So give me a specific example of who's going to use it.
So one of the things we've always said is I don't think banks will be the first customers. We've talked about payment providers, and so we have run pilots out there with the MoneyGrams, Western Unions, Mercury FX, Qualix, a couple of others. And those are payment providers that have massive treasury operations, using one random example, you have a payment provider that has hundreds of millions of dollars of negative working capital because they've taken their dollars or their pesos and they've pre-funded it, and they've pre-funded the account. So they go into Mexico, once a week, let's say, they'll wire $10 million to Mexico and then debit along the way. Now, sometimes they overfund, sometimes they underfund. The ability to have real-time liquidity is transformational. The global pre-funded, what are called Nostra-Vostra relationships, it represents something on the order of magnitude $10 trillion. If we can make that more efficient and more useful, we can actually accelerate the engine of commerce kind of on a global basis.
It's a great point, and it's worth refreshing, because how are you going to move and unlock all of this money? Obviously, it will take regulation and legislation, right? But I think Brad Garlinghouse knows better than anybody the way you're going to do it is through CBDCs and stablecoins. And it would just so happen be that Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell emphasizes the need for legislative framework for none other than stablecoins to ensure financial stability. This is how you do it, right? You're not unlocking anything unless you have the technical ability to unlock the funds and be able to move them instantly, or otherwise you've unlocked the money to the same system with the same amount of friction in it. This is why stable coins are so important, right? Because for one, I think they're so important in the US because if there's going to be a real issue with hyperinflation, they're going to need to create a new use case by allowing multiple financial institutions to develop stable coins and privately issue them. And that creates a new use case to soak up hyperinflated T-bills and treasury notes, right? This is one way to soak up the hyperinflation on the back end and force the banks to hold the reserves 1-to-1 to a digital stablecoin dollar. That way the paper dollar might be worth less than $1 in your pocket, which incentivizes you to download a digital wallet and a digital ID, and incentivizes you to get a real digital dollar because you're tired of carrying 10 digital dollars just to have 1 or 2 real dollars in value. How many times did I just say dollar in that last 30 seconds? But honestly, I think this is where we are, right? I mean, but we're going to see, because if we get the legislative framework approved, we'll be able to dive down inside of that to see how the design and issuance is allowed to happen. And that is something I'm super excited to be able to see once it finally makes its way there. And this was super exciting too. Shout out to Sean McBride here, ex-Amazon, ex-Google, ex-Rippler. He says here, Ripple has tons of capital. I'm super interested in your thoughts here, though. Why move away from XRP and its utility with progress being made, and many, including the World Bank, already classifying XRP as a stable coin? Thank you for all your research and insight. It's truly appreciated. This was based off of Wrath of Common asking the point, at what point does Ripple issue their own stable coin? Do the custody acquisitions suggest it? Use it in AMMs and liquidity pools? Put it on exchanges with much greater attestation and compliance than USDT or USDC? Question mark. Maybe too much capital outlay. The automated market maker is awesome, but who will fill the liquidity pools? These are very great questions. I mean, Wrath of Common is no joke. He puts out great stuff. But I love Sean McBride's pushback here. And a lot of people don't really subscribe to the idea that XRP could be a stable coin. I'm not resolved in the idea that it is. I just wonder if it is, because I don't think the idea of it becoming a stable coin is quite off the table. Sean is correct. The World Bank refers to XLM and XRP as stable coins. The question is did the World Bank get it wrong? Right? We don't know the answer. But I tell you this, with the introduction of automated market makers and liquidity pools, I think you're creating a stabilization mechanism to be able to stabilize the price while allowing it to remain an open, free market. And the fact that you're taking it out of the centralized exchanges and the order books for every time a cross-border payment needs to be made, they can now go to the liquidity pools and the automated market makers to do so. This is how you create a stable price while not restricting the market. And the more you onboard the liquidity, the more you're able to weigh out where the price is going to be, because the automated market maker takes care of the slippage and the arbitrage for us. And that's what tightens the spread on XRP moving around. And the more liquidity you put in the bathtub, the more it becomes an ocean and less like a bathtub. If you slosh the water around the bathtub, it gets pretty crazy in that bathtub. You slosh the water around the ocean and almost nothing happens. That's what we're talking about. So this is going to be very interesting. What we're watching develop, and look, we don't need to be right about it being a stablecoin. If it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. But what we do know is we have to be very careful, because we know that the banks see it that way, and they see stablecoins as less risky. This may be features brought to the ledger, the ever-expanding XRP ledger. I'm just going to say this real quick. This is why it's so important. If you don't come to any other XRP conference, you need to come to this one. And we're going to have David Schwartz talking about automated market makers and liquidity pools. You may learn the information you need that changes the way you decide to move forward as an XRP holder for the rest of your life. That is not a joke. That's not an upsell. There's a cost to everything, but this is an investment in yourself to come to this conference. And it's going to be a hugely interactive conference with the companies that are there. No question. Take a look at this really quickly here. XRP stuck between 21 EMA and 55 MA. Potential for 7,000% breakout. Whoa! Don't be misled by the complexity of the chart below. It presents potentially life-changing opportunity, but let's temper all that. We know where we're going here, right? But let's understand, we could see more downside. Egg Red Crypto's told us that. Dark Defender's told us that, right? And he even says here, downside risk is a reminder, 45 cents. But closing above 60 cents is crucial, as it would mean closing above the 21 EMA on the 2-week time frame. So we got a 2-week window there, right? And along with surpassing the local resistance level in the candle style. So now coming down here, this could be the prelude to a mega move, a breakout that occurs once in a lifetime. It would complete the W formation. It would finalize the ascending triangle formation. This move could signify a 500% increase from the current price, potentially initiating a massive pump from higher levels, 7,000% pump. The idea of a 7,000% move from $2. So he's saying that would be from the $2 mark. So we got to get there for that to build, for that argument to be supported even further, right? $2 might seem incomprehensible to 99% of people, but once utility kicks in, it could just be the beginning of a multi-decade trend. And this is where I offer, as you watch this chart, you see the $2 mark, and where he shows here at about $139 range, if that 7,000% pop would happen. You know, and what I want to say here is think about the addition of automated market makers and the creation of liquidity pools for them. And think about the fact that we already know that we have the vote to pass the automated market makers. It was simply a small bug that had to be fixed, and it has been. So I would expect that we do go back to a passing vote, and then no more bugs are found. It passes it in 2 weeks. And then we have automated market makers and liquidity pools. And when we do, could that really start the race just the way ETFs have started the race for Bitcoin? Could liquidity pools serve as that same demand for the institutions that know exactly what the benefits of using XRP as a bridge asset are for? That's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I hope you will join us in the Freedom Zone at digperspectives.com. Come on in. I'll catch all of you on the inside. Welcome back to the Freedom Zone, everybody. I just want to let you know, stay tuned later today, as you will be hearing from me inside of the Freedom Zone and the DPMG, as I'm bringing you the update latest from the filming on set today with Digital Asset Investor and myself and Fruition Productions. And I'm telling you, this film is going to be something else. I watched a full day of shooting yesterday, and we helped do some consulting. And it was just absolutely remarkable what they captured. And I can't wait to tell you all about it, but I'm not allowed to now, so I won't. But I just wanted to give you as much as I could today, and you will hear from me later today inside of the Freedom Zone. I'll catch you guys on the next one.